fresh tee with some Jordans on. Ay, I need a foreign car and foreign home. Ay, I swear there is no stopping this. Ay, we turning goals into accomplishments. Ay, okay, now hold up, let me get them. You can take another route, but you can't ever lose the vision. Ideas all in the pot, so I'm whipping in the kitchen, trying to build a family friendship. Put this money in my dinner. Hanging with the team, you never benefit. And I ain't signing nothing unless I benefit. We gon' keep on turning like we been the whip. You know that's the rules when you with the click. Gotta go and get it, cause there's nothing in the way. They'll try to knock you down, but you gotta stand straight. Gotta stay grinding, you can't ever lose a day. I'm just trying to win and see the homies get paid. Rolling in this thing with my day one. Let them keep talking, they can hate something. Lacing up the whip, it's getting heavy now. No more drama over here, keep that petty down. Why you on my collar? I'm just trying to live and start stacking up these commas. Been around the way, you can miss me with the drama. You too busy reinvesting in your problems. Why you on my collar? I'm just trying to live and start stacking up these commas. Been around the way, you can miss me with the drama. You too busy reinvesting in your problems. If you ain't the family, we can't rock with it. We just trying to do it like the Rock did it. Yeah, I'm here to stay, I'm a last homie. We been making plays for the cash, homie. They wanna see us lose, but we can't though. Been through it, gotta ease the pain though. Put me in the hills, I won't bother none. I been had to hustle, I'm my mama's son. They tried to tell me, Zel, take a chill pill. If I don't turn up, you can watch just how the bills will. I'm just trying to live this life stress-free. Back in Cancun, palm trees and jet skis. If you ain't yourself, you are not with me. You can bet on me and raise your stock with me. Yeah, I told them boys you can walk with me. If you ain't got a bag, homie, then don't talk to me. Why you on my collar? I'm just trying to live and start stacking up these commas. Been around the way, you can miss me with the drama. You too busy reinvesting in your problems. Why you on my collar? I'm just trying to live and start stacking up these commas. Been around the way, you can miss me with the drama. You too busy reinvesting in your problems.
What's up, Kings fans? Smash up.
Welcome to Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wilding in the stands. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gonna be our year. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. We're here drinking beer. We're here drinking beer. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring. Yeah.
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. If you're a Kings fan, make sure you smash up that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification cowbell so you get notified every time we put out a new video. We are live after every single Kings game here on YouTube. We are also live on Twitter Spaces. Nick, I see you down there. We'd love to hear from you when we get done recapping the game. Calvin, happy Saturday. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be back. Not the way I'd like to be back, but I'm glad to be back.
Okay.
This a new look you're going with? I'm gone for one day and one show. And
you heard a hoodie mellow. I'm hoodie Barry today.
All right, I like it.
I'm hoping it helps the Kings. We're on a 2-game losing streak. I can't show my face right now or my head.
So you need a mask then.
Maybe I do, but welcome into the show. Shout out to all my guys here in the chat. RP is here. Oh, Dragon Chicken. Charles. Dude, we need a shorter nickname for SpaceX Dragon Chicken.
That's a hard one to shorten.
Drag Chicken?
Drag Chicken. I'm not sure they would like
I like
that,
drag
but
chicken.
Yeah, sure, why not? Fred, what's up?
Yeah, Fred is here. Tito is here. Henry, Jay, Charles, welcome in. Oh, yeah, Fred Dixon. Welcome in. Another Charles as well. Brian, Skip is here. Good to see you. My guy Bouncer, Matthew, Urslow, Tom. Wow, we got a bunch of people here in the chat. Welcome in. You guys are true fans showing up even after a loss. Unfortunately, the Sacramento Kings lose tonight 117-110 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. The good news is Calvin, we have another game against them on Monday. So another chance to redo it. Shout out to Patrick here. But Calvin, give me your first thoughts on the game tonight, because boy, was it a doozy.
Just incredibly up and down. Unfortunate, you come off of a bad loss the game before against Toronto, where it was really out of hand early, and there was no comeback. You get a few days off. I realize they start on the road here, but you think, okay, all these teams, the Kings have better records than they're about to play on the road. This is an opportunity here for them to kind of, again, make some ground in the standings, while the other teams are currently starting to pick up the pace. And you run into a backcourt buzzsaw. D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards traded halves. D'Angelo Russell, I've seen Anthony Edwards do this time and time again over the past couple of years. D'Angelo Russell is the guy that has been, I think, the missing piece, the missing factor for this team for years now. So for him to come out and start the game the way he did, that was a big killer. Despite all of that, though, the Kings, again, found themselves in a position to win this game. They really rely, I looked back on what my keys to this game were. It was turnovers. They forced the Timberwolves into 19 turnovers.
Yep.
It was get to the free throw line. They shot 36 free throws in this game.
Missed a bunch.
And it was kill them from the three-point line. That's the only thing the Kings didn't do.
Yeah.
If they shot well from three in this game, they won. They would have won this game no problem.
Yeah.
So as
point.
bad as it looked, again, we're talking about the Kings. This is the difference between this year and the last 16 years. They can play poorly and still win games. They just didn't pull this one out.
Yeah, it looked like everyone was kind of afraid to shoot the ball there late in the fourth quarter. De'Aaron Fox was taking over. He was doing a good job, but as good as you could play with 5 fouls, right? Not trying to get kicked out of the game. But you mentioned D'Angelo Russell, big first half for him. I think he only had like 2 points in the second half of this game.
Well, that's because Anthony Edwards had all the points.
He was like 7 of 7 at one point in the first half, made, I think, 7 threes.
He made his first 7.
Yeah,
threes,
which I believe was tied for the most threes, shooting perfect field goal percentage since like 1994 or something.
Yeah, he looked like he belonged on the Kings.
Anthony Edwards killed it late in this game. I believe he had like 26, 27 points in the second half of this game, including that dagger 3 at the end. But let's not forget, Rudy Gobert, great big double-double for him tonight. Made it tough for all the Kings in the paint tonight. Naz Reid, a couple amazing left-handed layups for Naz Reid tonight. We'll definitely talk about him. But, yeah, just another rough performance for your Sacramento Kings. In the last game, Calvin, they had their season low, 95 points scored in that game. They bounced back tonight with 110. It's still far below their average. I think I saw a stat saying something like 7 out of the last 8 quarters, the Kings have scored less than 28 points in each quarter. Not a very good statistic. You want to jump here into the box score?
Yeah, we can go to it here. Domantas Sabonis, another solid all-around game for him. 23 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, on 9 of 13 shooting, 5 of 8 at the free throw line. Harrison Barnes had 13 points. 10 of those came at the free throw line. 10 of 11 tonight from him at the line. Keegan Murray is the one starter today that really you could have used a lot more from. 8 points, 4 rebounds, 3 of 8 shooting, and 2 of 6 from 3. De'Aaron Fox had that big fourth quarter to end with 29 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 3 rebounds. Kevin Huerter, 11 points on 4 of 12 shooting. Malik Monk leads the way off the bench for the Kings with 13 points on 5 of 6 shooting. He also had 3 rebounds and 3 assists to go along with 2 turnovers.
Not a good game for
I would go through the box score for Minnesota, but I don't think anybody wants to see that or hear that.
No, we definitely don't want to hear that. But, underperformance for Keegan Murray, 3 of 8 from the field, 1 for 7 for HB. You mentioned 13 points for him. And then this bench, like, what did this bench really do, right? I believe I heard a stat in this game saying the Kings bench was 10th in the league in scoring. Not a lot of points off the bench here, just some quick math. Looks like 26 points off the bench for the Kings tonight.
26.
Which is not exceptionally well.
No, it's not good. We saw them average well north of that, earlier on in the year. I think November was the best month of the season that the Kings bench had in terms of points per game. They've been very up and down, and in a game like this, obviously that would have helped put them over the top.
Yeah, as far as the team stats go, the Kings shot 45% from the field, only 27% from three-point range, as opposed to 52% for the Timberwolves and almost 46% for them from three-point line. 36 free throws for the Kings as opposed to only 21 by the Timberwolves. Both teams shot about 75% from the line. The Kings did get out-rebounded in this game, 44-36. Kings are only about 23 assists tonight, not too good. 54 points in the paint, and only 9 turnovers for the Sacramento Kings. 2 of those were late in this game. Normally when the Kings have less than double-digit turnovers, it's a good thing for them. But when you allow another team to shoot 45% from three-point range and you just can't get anything going, and then you mentioned, the first quarter where D'Angelo Russell looked like Brooklyn Russell, right? All-star Russell, just could not miss. The Kings got into a hole early. I believe they were down 10 or 11 in the first quarter of this game. They tried to bounce back. I believe they were up by about 3 at one point, and then they just lost it again, man. And then we saw in the third and the fourth quarters where they kept trying to make a run. They'd cut it to like 5. Then they would lose some steam again, cut it to 5 again, lose steam again. It was just a constant battle to get back in this game. Really, really unfortunate. Anything else that really stood out for you here in the team stats?
I mean, the shooting percentages are big, but, again, I just go and look at a couple numbers here. The Kings, almost 20 more points in the paint. The rebounding number was, Minnesota had more rebounds, but not by a huge margin. The Kings actually had more offensive rebounds in this game. And the free throw disparity, as much as people want to, I think, make this about the Kings' inability to shoot from three and execute offensively and relying too much maybe on De'Aaron Fox at the end, and should they change the style of play on offense, all those things are valid points to bring up, but it's not the reason they lost. The reason they lost is because of defense. Yeah. That's just the case with this team. That's going to be how the way that they'll win games consistently against good teams, potentially playoff games, is not by becoming better offensively or changing what they do offensively. They're the best offensive team in the league. Well, why do they need to change things? They need to change defense. They need to get better defensively, whether that's adding players or, playing better defense with the players that they already have, which I know is a tall task or a tall order to ask of anybody, but that's the key. That's how this team is going to get better.
Shout out to Skip. Have a good night, Skip. I need some positivity, Calvin. I want to hear from Nick here. Our guy, Nick, he's on the line here on Twitter Spaces. Nick, what is up, dude? How are you, man?
Good, man. So I just want to say, how are you doing? So we lost today, but, we could have played better, but we got to play better defense. I went to practice today. I played basketball. It was pretty good. So, I'm going to have to try to win again on my day.
Better get a win on Monday. I'm glad to hear practice went well, though, Nick.
Yeah, and, we didn't do good today. We got to play better defense. Defense wins games, and you're going to have to win. I mean, win the game on Monday, go to 28 wins, and try to win on Monday.
Yeah, you got to split.
You got to bounce back, dude. He's on the same page as you. Defense, defense, defense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, defense. Everything is defense, Yep. Defense wins games, and you got to win it. You just got to.
Nick, I know you coach a little bit, and you also play basketball. Can you be a little bit more specific? What do you mean by defense? What type of defense? What do they need to do better?
By guarding Minnesota Timberwolves, by guarding your guys, staying on your man, and just staying on the man. Better defense. Do not let Minnesota shoot over you, because they're going to shoot three-pointers over you.
Yeah, I do agree with that, Nick. I mean, especially to start the game here, D'Angelo Russell comes out and makes 4 shots in a row or something like that, he still seemed to catch the ball with a good, foot or so space
Yeah.
from his defender. I would have loved to have seen somebody just come out and get right in his shorts right away. If you're going to make a three, with somebody's hand in your face, go ahead. But there's no excuse to just give somebody that much space after they've gotten off to a hot start like that.
Yeah. Yep.
I heard somebody mention, you got to be more physical. You want them to feel you. You don't want to hurt people, but you need to be more physical, and they got to know you're there. Any thoughts on that, Nick?
I just think that when you go out there, go out in the court and just got to shoot better. Be competitive. Do what you got to do when you're on the court. And I know you got to be ready. And I know the Kings are on a road trip for 2 weeks. And when they come back home on the 10th and the 11th, they play Dallas. So, we're going to have to try to get these wins before the All-Star break. And we're going to have to see what happens.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Try to get some wins.
Well, they'll bounce back on Monday with a win, right, Nick? Why not?
Yeah, I think they will. Why not win?
Why not?
Nick, before we let you go, give us a prediction for Monday.
Okay, prediction on Monday. Let's see. For the Minnesota Timberwolves Monday, I think it should be a 140 to 99.
140
to
99. Yes.
All right.
No,
I like that.
That's a bounce back.
Yeah.
I think if they win by 41 on Monday, Calvin, I'll forgive the Kings for losing tonight.
I think most people will.
Why not?
Why not?
Well, thank you, Nick. We appreciate you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully we'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, you got to light the beam on Monday.
Oh, we plan on it, Nick. We plan on it. All right, buddy. Good to hear from you.
All right, sweet dreams.
Sleep beams.
Oh, man, he's always great. I love Nick. I love having Nick here on the show. As Henry says here in the chat, the Kings revenge game on Monday. Calvin, I definitely do want to talk about Monday's game here in a second, but we got a couple other things to talk about. So first off, a couple storylines on this game, right? Tonight's game, the Timberwolves played last night. They won last night. They're on a back-to-back. The Kings are the ones that actually looked tired tonight, which was kind of strange. This is the first of a 7-game road trip for the Kings, the longest road trip of the season. Not a good game to look tired on, right? Starting a 7-game road trip. After this game, there is currently 9 more games till the NBA All-Star break. Also not a good time to look tired. I hope you guys see the poll here in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and end that. I said, what's wrong with the Kings? We got a bunch of people voting. The majority says they look tired. I think they agree with us, Calvin. But, you gotta figure it out. Every team is tired at this point. There's a lot of games in the NBA season. You gotta figure out a way to be better, to try harder, to play faster, to just put more effort out there. These guys are all professionals, and especially a guy like De'Aaron Fox, right? Maybe you give a break to a guy like Keegan, maybe even a guy like Davion that's been in the league for maybe a year. Keegan has been in the league for half a year. He's played more games in the NBA than he's played in college, right? So a guy like that, you could understand, like, okay, he's starting to get tired. It's starting to wear on him. De'Aaron Fox has been in the league for 5 years. He should know what the grind of the NBA season is like. He's a guy that plays fast. He's a guy that's had head coaches throughout his entire career that have pushed him to play faster. So De'Aaron should be the last one looking tired. Maybe Sabonis is adjusting to this new team, this new offense. Maybe it takes it out on him. Any thoughts on that, Cal?
Well, I think the funny thing about saying that is once the fourth quarter turned around or came around, De'Aaron didn't look so tired anymore to me. I mean, he looks like a completely different player. The explosion, the quickness, the acceleration to the basket, all of that stuff just seemed to come back to him like magic compared to the first 3 quarters. Seriously, he looked like a completely different player. And I know that is kind of how that they've been playing this whole year long. Allow him to kind of get his feel for the game or let the team rather get the feel for the game. Let Sabonis lead the offense. in the first 3 quarters and then give it to De'Aaron in the fourth. But I agree with you that there is no excuse for that. If you needed to win this game, you need to come back and play well after losing to the Raptors the way that they did. And, at some point, if you're De'Aaron, you've got to take a leadership role and get guys going energy-wise early on in the game. That doesn't mean play the same way, like it's the fourth quarter, give me the ball, I'm scoring. But I just look at some of the moves that he puts on in these first 3 quarters, and it's lazy. I mean, I know he can get any shot he wants, but he's settling. Whereas he could still be getting to that middle of the free throw line paint area for a nice, easy floater or a pump fake, turnaround fall away like he loves to do. Those are shots that should be available at any time. And he doesn't look to go to that really until the fourth quarter. I think he's taken way too many threes as of late. That's been an issue of mine with him for a while now. I definitely see that he still has it in the fourth quarter, which is why it's frustrating that you can't seem to see it earlier on in the game when you can first start to feel a swing or a momentum push to the other direction. That's when you need those types of plays, those energy plays.
Definitely.
Especially from your leader.
Definitely. I don't know if him and Sabonis have like some kind of agreement, like Sabonis, you do your thing in the first 3 quarters, I'll take over in the fourth or not, but they got to figure something out. And, maybe we sound negative on this stream. Maybe we sound like we're complaining, we're picking this game apart, but hey, overall, we are very happy about the season for the Sacramento Kings. So don't get that twisted.
Oh, absolutely.
But Calvin, I mentioned on Wednesday against Toronto, the Kings put up their worst offensive output of the season, only 95 points. Since then, they had Thursday off. They had Friday off. They did travel to Minnesota, but they played today. They did look tired, but a lot of people were pointing out that maybe the Raptors, exposed the Kings, showed a way to maybe slow down Sabonis, slow down De'Aaron Fox. Do you agree with any of that at all, or is this just kind of am I digging too deep here?
I'm not going to go that far. Not one team, especially that recently. I actually said after the Philadelphia game, the way that Montrezl Harrell guarded Sabonis, that's a big that is able to kind of move with him, has a lot more mobility than some of these other bigger guys that he plays against, and is not going to give him as much space, right? He was denying, pushing Sabonis off of his spots, pushing him away from the block, all that stuff, getting them to start the offense out further and further away from the basket. That I thought was something that teams could have taken a look at. But these teams like Minnesota and Oklahoma City and I'm sorry, did I say Minnesota? Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto.
And Oklahoma City, and even Minnesota to some extent, teams that have a lot of length, all that stuff, they bother the Kings. That's no secret. So I don't think that it's one team is showing anybody this is the way to play against these guys. I think it's a combination of a few things. Yes, they are tired. Whether you think that's an excuse or not, it's true. I mean, this starting lineup has had to be heavily relied on this season, more so than a lot of other starting lineups in the NBA. This is a new position for this team to be in also. They're the hunted now. They're not the... By this point in the season, the Kings have been out of it already for many, many years, right? They're playing much more important games, meaningful games. And I go back to something that I said months ago, was that once you get into this part of the season, this is where it gets the toughest. January and February, this trip right before the All-Star break. People think not these people watching, but some NBA fans might think the All-Star break is the halfway point in the season. It's not. You play much more of your games before the All-Star break than you do after. I mean, there's a lot of teams that have already played over 50 games currently. So these guys are tired. This is the dog days of the NBA season, and this is a new position for this team to be in. So it's going to be, I think they do feel some pressure, some stress applied onto them because of the position that they're in and the early season success that they've had. They have to figure out how to fight through this and build their way to the final stretch run where you're going to be having all the adrenaline added to those games because you know how important they are, how close it is to actually being a playoff game.
Yeah, that's a great point, and something that I've been on Twitter Spaces the past couple days. I've talked to a lot of different Kings fans, and something I don't remember exactly who it was. I apologize, but somebody pointed out that the expectations for this Kings team have changed. Right at the beginning of the season, the expectations were maybe to be in the play-in tournament. We were doing much better than that. Everything was good. Everybody was ecstatic. The Kings were happy. They were playing freely and open. Now they're at the 3rd seed. Expectations have changed, right? People want more. It's not about we're happy if they make the play-in. We're happy if they're the 8th seed or the 7th seed or even the 6th seed. Now it's we want home court advantage in the playoffs. We want them to get to the next round. Blah blah blah. All this. So that I feel definitely has a big impact on the Kings. The players, hopefully it's something they can overcome. I do think that it is something they can overcome, but I agree with you, Calvin. That is also something that could be ragging on them, playing in meaningful games this late in the season, something they're not used to, which I think is definitely important. Drag Chicken here says Sabonis has been looking like he's stat padding like he's LeBron, like no joke. He goes right up to the rim like he's about to score, and he can, and then he just passes it off trying to get an assist. I completely disagree with this take, honestly. I do. I do not think that LeBron is a stat pattern. And the reason I say that, look at how many almost triple-doubles LeBron James has had in his career. And he doesn't give a shit about getting a triple-double. He could have got an extra rebound, an extra assist, completed the triple-double. He could be number 1 all-time in triple-doubles if he really, really wanted to be a stat pattern. I don't think he is. I think he likes to win games. I think Sabonis is the same exact way. Calvin, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I don't think Sabonis is padding stats. I think he's playing the way that they need him to play to win. The Kings are at their best. I don't know how many times we've said this, when they get a complete game from everyone, including the bench. And a lot of that is because Sabonis allows these guys or puts them in positions to score and to have better games. Keegan Murray is not good creating his own shot or going one-on-one. He relies on people getting him the ball in the right position. Kevin Huerter can do it a little bit, but he also relies heavily on guys screening or getting him the ball in the right position to get a good shot. I mean, the dude is still scoring. Like, he had 23 points tonight. He went at Rudy Gobert time and time again tonight. I saw somebody else in the chat say that Gobert was making Sabonis look silly or giving him the business or something like that. I thought it was the other way around for most of this game. I mean, Rudy Gobert, yes, he alters shots, but he could not stick with Sabonis inside for most of this game. So I disagree that he's stat padding. I think he's playing the way that they need him to play to win.
Yeah. Also, a couple great dunks on Gobert tonight. One by Metu, one by De'Aaron Fox. And De'Aaron Fox got rejected by the rim in this game, which I was completely surprised about. I thought that was a fast breakaway dunk. All of a sudden, the ball's going the opposite direction. I'm like, wait, what happened here? Like, I thought that was 2 points. It goes on to be a
three in the other end.
Right away by Anthony Edwards.
Big play.
5-point swing when the Kings were on a run. That was definitely a disappointing moment for me. Chris says, we need to win games. I could not agree more. He also says Fox needs to dominate the whole game. Fox is the number 1 option. I totally agree. I've been one that's been hating on Gobert. I've been hating on Gobert for a long time. And mostly it's because of his contract and some of his play. He is limited in the things that he does. But, guys, this is a huge rim protector, a great rebounder, and he definitely affected the Kings at the basket tonight, especially late in the game. We were on a Twitter space just before this stream, and there was a fan on there mentioning the length of the Timberwolves, how they were closing out on the Kings. It seems like the Kings' release was a little slow tonight, and Rudy Gobert was definitely affecting shots at the rim. I could not agree more with that. I think that's really what made it tough on the Kings tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Length and size does have that effect on a lot of teams, for sure.
So just checking here on the standings. Don't worry, guys. We're still the 3rd seed in the Western Conference at 27-21. The Clippers have officially passed the New Orleans Pelicans at 28 and 24 on the season. That's big, Calvin. So we still have a little bit of a cushion for the 3rd seed, but not a good time to take your foot off the gas. Let's talk about, I want to just talk about a couple things real quick, and then we can kind of go into the next game, unless you had any last thoughts on this game tonight, Calvin.
No, I mean, I think that despite all the negative things that we talk about after the Kings lose, they still were in a position to win this game.
Yep.
A few more made free throws, a couple more made threes,
some stops.
It would have gone completely the other way, even with this team being as bad on defense as they are. They still could have won this game.
All right, so let's talk about a couple things, then we'll jump back into the Timberwolves because, as you guys know, we are playing them on Monday. Also, want to remind everybody we currently are live on Twitter Spaces. If you want to join in the conversation, all you got to do is head on over to Twitter, follow us, Royal_Rebounds. You can click on our profile picture to join the space, and you can request to come up on stage. We'd love to hear from you. Elizabeth, I see you down there. If you want to talk, just request to come on up. Okay, Calvin, couple things before we talk about the game on Monday. First off, should we talk about this Matt Barnes situation? Did you see the video? Tell me about it.
Oh, are you talking about the spit?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did see the video.
Because, I mean, this is a guy that...
I don't know how I got sucked into that.
I'm a big fan of Matt Barnes. He's from Sacramento, played for the Kings, I believe, twice. Now he's with the TV crew. He does halftime shows, post-game shows. I think he's a really smart guy with a lot of good things to say. But honestly, Calvin, this is not a good look. I don't know the entire story because I try and keep myself out of these things. But apparently he was at a 49ers game, ran into an ex who was with a new dude. Some kind of altercation happened. Matt Barnes spit on the guy. Is that right?
In layman's terms, yes. I think, and I don't have all the details, so I'm not going to try to go too in depth here. According to Matt, the guy has been harassing him. The ex's new guy has been harassing him for a long time now, saying hateful things and all this stuff. And he tries to stay away from him at all costs, and he happened to run into him, and he let his emotions get the best of him at the Niner game. And there definitely is clear video of him spitting on him.
Yeah.
So, unfortunate.
Love Matt Barnes. Not a good way to handle a situation. I can understand your frustration getting harassed, but there are better channels. I would just say that, and let's move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to Matt Barnes, dude. I really do appreciate having you with the Kings. In other news, Kings fans are going to like to hear this. It's about Robert Horry. Cal, did you see this story?
I did not.
He got
I can't
ejected.
wait for this.
He got ejected from a game last night. For cussing out an official. I believe it was his son's game or something, and he got kicked out of the arena. So that was exciting for me. I know it's not big breaking news.
A high school game?
I believe so. Let me double check here.
Man, what are people doing?
It's crazy, huh? I'm going to read the whole story here.
Kicked out of a high school game.
Just so I can get it. Ex-Laker Robert Horry escorted by police from youth basketball game.
Oh, even worse.
His son's high school basketball game for heckling the referees, screaming, "You suck." That's funny. I'm pretty sure we all scream, "You suck," but not at a high school game, right?
Yeah.
So according to the video, it starts with Robert Horry screaming, "You suck," while standing in the bleachers. This is when the ref points at Horry and tosses him out of the game. Horry didn't stop. He continued saying, "Hey, ref, you talking about me? You suck. Oh, you're mad at me because I said you suck?" Yeah, crazy. Robert Horry getting kicked out of games, Calvin. I love it. I love it. Sucks to be a ref, man.
It does suck to be a ref.
Because that's what I scream at refs.
It does suck to be a ref.
I scream. When they're sucking, yeah. I tell them straight up, "You suck." But at the same time, I've been a referee just like you, and it sucks when people are yelling at you.
It sure does. Yet somehow Shannon Sharp didn't get ejected from crypto.
Did you see the stat that the Grizzlies are 0-5 since that altercation happened? Interesting situation. Okay, moving on next. And this is something that really confused me, Cal, because I read something a couple days ago that said that KZ Okpala was sent down to the Stockton Kings, and we saw him play tonight for the Sacramento Kings.
We sure did.
Any thoughts on that? That's kind of weird.
It is weird.
Was I misinformed?
I think a lot of people must have been misinformed.
Or do you get sent down for one game and then you're like, oh, he killed it, bring him right back up?
Personally, I have not watched a single Stockton Kings game this year. I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but I have not. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that.
Dude, shout out to Lane. Lane, I don't know if he had his rings on. Also, shout out to Callum. Oh, Progressive G is here. Wow, good to see you guys. We got some VIPs in the house, Calvin. Lee is here. Jay is here. Welcome in, guys. Glad to have you all. Oh, DJ's here as well. Wow, we missed a couple people. Edward, good to see you guys all here. Okay, next up, just a couple questions real quick. Some housekeeping things before we move on to the next game. Just curious, Calvin. Who's a better center? Sabonis, Gobert?
Sabonis.
Easy one?
It is for me.
Okay. So the reason I bring this up is Sabonis is having a great season. If you didn't know already, in my opinion, he is an MVP candidate. Of course, not going to win it, should not win it, but I believe he's like kind of in the conversation, maybe fringe guy, something like that. Rudy Gobert is not, right?
No, he is not.
We saw all these stories, articles come out about when Tyrese Halliburton was traded to the Sacramento Kings for Domantas Sabonis and how it was malpractice, how the league should have stopped the trade. It was highway robbery, all this stuff. Cal, I didn't hear many of those stories about the Gobert trade. I mean, I heard that maybe they gave up too much, but I didn't hear any calls of malpractice or anything like that.
In which direction? Highway robbery for which team?
For, Utah, right?
For you, yeah. Well, everybody thought Utah was tanking at that point.
I mean, I want to break down this trade real quick because, everyone's hating on the Kings for trading for Sabonis, but nobody hates on the Jazz. Not the Jazz. Nobody hates on the Timberwolves for giving up all this money and all these picks for Rudy Gobert. Don't forget, this is a guy that makes $47 million this year. I was looking up the stats. With him and Karl Anthony Towns, I think the year that Anthony Edwards is eligible for a contract extension, they're paying $100 million to two centers, which is absolutely
crazy.
Ridiculous. D'Angelo Russell, who was supposed to be their other piece, is a free agent at the end of this season. They probably can't afford to keep him at this point. Anthony Edwards is an absolute stud. You'd think that they'd want to keep him. So that just kind of leads me to believe, like, maybe this team's stuck with Gobert. Maybe Karl Anthony Towns is the one that's going to end up getting traded eventually so they can afford to keep a guy like Anthony Edwards.
Well, look, I mean, the one thing I'll say about all of this is I think it's still unfair to judge whether or not that this team is working together. They just haven't played enough games together.
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns and Gobert have played how many games together? Like 19 or something?
It's less than that.
Less than that?
Yeah.
That's not enough time to judge. It's just not. I'm sorry.
Towns has been out for 31 games or something like that.
Yeah.
Plus he missed how many to start the season?
I'm not saying that when they were playing there weren't things that you could look at and be like, oh, there are question marks here. Is this going to work long term? And I think to me, the question is more so about Anthony Edwards. It's not about Karl Anthony Towns and Gobert together. When those two are on the floor together, Edwards doesn't have as much space to operate. That's a big problem because I think that guy is the future of this team, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's the guy that they need to figure out a way to hold on to as opposed to what are we going to do with these centers. So that would be my biggest question mark about it, but I still think it's unfair to right now judge whether or not it works because they just haven't played enough games together.
Shout out to Bench Matthew for joining in. Also, we appreciate you for coming off the bench on Wednesday night and helping me run the show. Appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Matthew. My seat is hot right now because of you. Thank you very much.
But back to this Gobert trade, and I see Charles here. Yeah, they did clown on Minnesota, but not as hard as they clown on Sacramento. Nobody's called this malpractice. Nobody said the league should have stepped in to prevent this. I mean, this is what the Jazz received for Rudy Gobert, Calvin. Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, who was probably the third best player on the Timberwolves last year, Leandro Balermo, Walker Kessler, who was the number 22 pick in the 2022 draft, Jared Vanderbilt, a 2023 first-round pick, a 2025 first-round pick, a 2023
If you guys have to go to the
pick
bathroom, go
swap,
ahead, because this just keeps going and going
a
and going.
2027 first-round pick, and a 2029 first-round pick. Calvin, that's 6 first-round picks in 4 players for a guy that's 30. He's been in the league for 10 years already, and he's making almost $50 million a year, and I believe he's locked up for like the next 3 or 4 years, which is absolutely ridiculous. That is crazy. Yeah,
It's wild.
JJ Redick is an idiot. Hey, he likes the Kings now, so he's a flip-flopper, I guess. I flip-flop sometimes as well, so I definitely get it. But, yeah, it is absolutely ridiculous, the amount that they've given up for Rudy Gobert. So you agree with me, Sabonis is a better center than him?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So what do you think?
He's not as good of a rim protector, but I mean, even rebounding, like Gobert's a great rebounder, right?
Yep.
Sabonis is leading the league in rebounds this year.
That's true. So does that mean Sabonis is getting $50 million a year in this contract extension?
Well, no, it doesn't. I mean, are the Kings going to pay him that?
What do you think?
I don't think they are. Sacramento is not going to commit that much money to somebody. I just don't believe that. But
making the All-Star game allows you to get that next chunk of money, right, in your next contract extension. I believe.
Well, you get a bonus this year. I think it's $3 million or something like that. But
yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. I saw someone in here mention Naz Reid. Great game for him tonight. Couple left-handed layups. I didn't even know the guy could do that with his left hand. A horrible three-point attempt for him in the game. But give me your thoughts on Naz Reid. What you thought about him tonight? Is he still one of your favorite trade candidates for the Kings?
I do still like Naz Reid a lot. I found myself watching this game saying, man, I hope Naz Reid comes out and does something really good, because then I can be like, see, guys, I told you we should get Naz Reid. But at the same time, I was like, if Naz Reid comes out and has a good game, the Kings are probably going to lose. So maybe I don't want him to play well. My take on Naz hasn't changed. I think that he's a perfect backup center, a guy that hasn't been given a whole lot of opportunity. I don't think he's ever averaged more than 19 minutes a game in his career. And in the times when he has had to fill the role of a stud or a starter, his numbers haven't really matched production-wise. But again, he just hasn't been given that type of opportunity before. I do think that Naz had a good game tonight. I think a lot of the plays, some of the plays that he made were the product of horrible defense and not necessarily phenomenal play himself, even though they were great moves. But I do think that Naz would be a great addition to the team. Absolutely.
Perfect. Shout out to Progressive G here for the super chat. We appreciate you for the beers. I'm drinking whiskey tonight, and I am almost out of whiskey. Patrick, Naz would be a fan favorite if he was to come to us. Yeah, I totally agree there. Calvin, last thing to mention.
Brian, I didn't say he was great. I even said that most of his plays came off a bad defense, but I do like what he could bring to the team in a backup role. You don't need him on this team to assist anybody.
Also, Progressive G wants to know your thoughts on Jakob Poeltl from the Spurs.
Yeah, he's another guy to target. I mean, I don't like him as much as some of the other guys that names have been mentioned. I even would rather have, I think, Plumlee than Poeltl, but certainly that's the type of person that they need to go grab, right? They just need somebody who can lock down the backup center position.
Yeah. Last thing to mention before we move back to the Timberwolves, because we play them on Monday again. This weekend's Monster Jam at Golden One Center. I'm so jealous. I wish I was there. If you guys are in Sacramento, if you don't want to watch, I guess it's over now because the Kings lost today. But if you want to have a fun day tomorrow, go check out Monster Jam. See Gravedigger, all those fun guys. Dude, it is so loud in there. Bring some earplugs. But I had a great time going to Monster Jam as a little kid, so a lot of fun there. Okay, Calvin, let's talk about Monday's game. It is against the Timberwolves in Minnesota again. First off, before we dive into your keys of the game, because we kind of talked about them, I want to know if they're the same as they were tonight. But first off, can you just break down the advantages and disadvantages of playing a team twice in a row? And what the Kings can use from tonight's game to kind of help them on Monday?
Well, the advantage is it's fresh in your mind, right? I mean, you just played this team, and you got to see it's different. It's a whole different way to scout a team when you've just played them and you have film of your team playing them, as opposed to going into the first game and scouting them, watching film against other teams, right? Because you see not just the types of plays that they like to run and how defenses react, but what they did on defense to what you like to do, what you like to run, all of that stuff. I mean, some things you just take and throw out, right? Like 27% from three tonight. You have to trust that you're going to shoot better from the field. Some of it is how you manufacture those shots and all of that. But the Kings, I thought, got good looks from a lot of this game. I mean, they had plenty of wide open threes that just didn't go in.
And free throws.
And free throws as well. But, on the flip side of that, what are some of the disadvantages? It's really hard. In Minnesota's case, it's really hard to beat a team 2 times in a row. I mean, it makes it like a playoffs type series atmosphere. And having just played a team, you kind of have a better feel for them going into the next game. Plus, you have maybe a little bit more motivation for the team that just lost, as opposed to, okay, we lost this team, we're going to be in another city the next night, we're moving on. It's a very interesting in-season type of situation.
Yeah, Lane, we didn't really go in too deep on individual players tonight like Harrison Barnes. This was a team failure, in my opinion. So we were just basically talking more about the team as a whole, things that they could do better, things that they didn't do together, instead of kind of, focusing on specific players. Of course, we did talk about Sabonis. We did talk about De'Aaron Fox and some of the struggles of guys like HB, which were quite unfortunate. But like I said, they have another chance on Monday. Like you said, Calvin, it's tough to beat a team twice in a row, so this is good news for the Kings. They're in Minnesota. It's not like they're going to be traveling tomorrow. They're going to get a day of rest.
They do have rest also.
Some things to work on before Monday's game. You have your keys listed here for the previous game. 3 keys. Play fast. Foxtrot inside, which was free throw attempts, and live by the 3. All 3 of these categories, the Minnesota Timberwolves ranked 28th in the league, 28th in turnovers, 28th in free throw attempts, and 28th in opponents' three-point percentage. You mentioned the Kings did not shoot well from the three-point line tonight. They missed a bunch of free throws tonight. Also, Minnesota was in the bonus like early in the fourth quarter. I believe 8 minutes and like 30 seconds left in this game. They were in the bonus shooting free throws through the rest of the game. Are these the same keys for Monday's game?
Yeah, they are, I would say, the same keys. I mean, you need to come up with more stops, too. That's a key for this team in every game. But I think these are 3 areas of the game where clearly the Sacramento Kings should have an advantage. I mean, tonight they did not in three-point shooting. And certainly that's the danger with playing guys like D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards. They can get hot at any time, and when they get hot, I mean, they're hotter than the sun. They just cannot miss, right? But you do have to believe, if you're the Kings, that you'll shoot better than 27%. So as long as they do that, again, getting to the free throw line, they should be able to do that very, very well. They should be able to force turnovers additionally. Minnesota had 19 in this game. The Kings got, I think, 21 points off of them. So it's or 20 turnovers, according to what ESPN is showing me. So those are two factors that I, again, would look for the Kings to try to take advantage of. In terms of one specific area, this Minnesota team is very aggressive defensively. They like to guard people far out on the perimeter. The Kings are a good cutting team. I would love to see them try to run more backdoor cuts in this game. Sabonis generally plays, out from the basket as kind of the offense starts anyway. Giving him the ball and letting guys that will pull Rudy Gobert at least a little bit away from the basket, giving guys an opportunity to backdoor cut on this team. Again, you can get to the free throw line that way. I would like to see more of that from Sacramento in Monday's game.
Definitely. I could not agree more. Hey, all my Kings fans out there, please don't forget to smash up that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are live after every single Kings game. And we're not professionals. We're just fans like you. We create this content for fans like you, and we get paid in likes. So please don't forget to smash up that like button. Another good thing to note, Calvin, is the Kings have bounced back exceptionally well against losses this year. There's only 2 losing streaks longer than 2 games on the season. The first one was basically the start of the year, 4-game losing streak, right? Then we had a 3-game losing streak towards the end of November. Other than that, Calvin, I mean, we pretty much bounced back after every single loss. We had a 2-game losing streak in the middle of December, a 2-game losing streak at the end of December, and a 2-game losing streak in the beginning of January. Other than that, dude, they played exceptionally well and bounced back in a bunch of these games, especially after losses, which is a great thing, especially for a young basketball team, especially when you lose big games, important games. You lose the shitty teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it can be really easy for you to get down, start changing the way you approach the game, start changing the way you approach your shots and all that stuff. So I think there's a young team with a really, really good leader and head coach in Mike Brown, who's been there before, and I think he will definitely guide them out of this 2-game slump that we're in towards a win on Monday. After Monday's game, we head to San Antonio, which is another juicy matchup. Then we head to the Pacers on Friday in Indiana, another juicy matchup. Then you got New Orleans on Sunday, next Sunday. Tough game, but they've been on a little bit of a slide.
They have. Brandon Ingram is back, though.
And then we finish up that road trip in Houston, 2 games in Houston. We won the We won the last 2 games. That's hard to say. We won the last 2 games in against Houston in Sacramento. So, the Kings need to get back on the right track here, but they got a bunch of good games, coming up. The unfortunate thing is Mike Bibby doesn't travel with the team. 50 Cent doesn't travel with the team. The Kings got a great record when these guys are in attendance.
That's true. Maybe they should send them tickets. But they are also, even with tonight's loss, still one of only 2 teams in the Western Conference that has a better than 500 road record. So there are still reasons to be, excited about where the Kings are going. Even with this loss, they're 11-9 after a loss. So Mike Brown is going to have these guys ready to go. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, 11-10 on the road this season, which is amazing for a Sacramento Kings team. And, I know a lot of Kings fans are discouraged right now. I know a lot of Kings fans are hating the Kings right now. But, guys, we're the 3rd seed in the Western Conference. Like, I know expectations are changing, right? Like I said earlier in the show, right, everyone's expectations was this Kings team was going to be a play-in team, right? They were going to be battling for a playoff spot. If we made the playoffs, all of us would be ecstatic. Now it's changed, right? Now everyone's like, oh, we want home court advantage in the first round. Oh, we want to win the first round. Guys, I want all that stuff too, but at the same time, just like appreciate where we're at, appreciate what we've accomplished so far. Don't make any rash, crazy decisions. We just locked up Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox. So I'm feeling really, really good about this Kings team. The trade deadline, Calvin, is about 2 weeks away. Let's talk about trades real quick before we end the show tonight. What are your thoughts on the trade deadline? Because I'm still kind of at the stay pat, don't make a move unless it's like a couple second-round picks and somebody that doesn't play.
Yeah, I mean, this question is just so hard for me to answer because you don't see what deals are offered or what teams are negotiating for. I mean, for me to say there's no move that I would make, period, that's just being facetious. Like, I'm sure there's something out there that would be good.
Yep.
It just depends on the deal. I keep saying that. I know it's a boring answer, but it's the truth. I mean, I think making a move for a backup center would be good. I don't want to give up too much to get that person, though, because they're a backup center. Like, does it make sense to trade a lot for Naz Reid? No, it doesn't. He doesn't make a lot of money anyway, but trading too much to get somebody like Mason Plumlee, I'm not in favor of that. But if you can get him for a reasonable price, and he's the guy that comes off the bench for Sabonis, that's probably a good move. Are you all in on trading for Siakam? I would love to have Siakam. Yeah. But what is it going to take to get him? It's just, there's so many factors. There's so many question marks involved in this stuff. I'm not opposed to making a trade. I just want it to be a smart move, and I trust that Monty McNair is going to make a smart move.
Yeah, I mean, why not trust Monty, right? He's done everything right so far. At least it seems in my eyes. He's drafted well. He's made smart trades. He's made little trades, right? Other than the Sabonis trade, a lot of the trades were just little tweaks here and there to try and pry a guy here. We got
Marvin Bagley for Trey Lyles.
For Trey Lyles, one of my favorite players on the Kings roster. We picked up Terrence Davis, and I know a lot of Kings fans are like, where's TD? We haven't seen TD play. Terrence Davis has had a great impact on this Kings team when he has played. So I still look at that as a win. And some of these other moves that he's made have just been really, really exceptional. So all my trust is in Monty. I've continued to say that throughout the year, and I will continue to say that. So, Calvin, I think that's pretty much it for me. You got any last thoughts on the Minnesota Timberwolves? Maybe the temperatures affecting the Sacramento Kings? Anything like that? Is the moon in retrograde?
Maybe
or
they got
Mercury
cooled off a little bit. I don't know. Ask somebody not named me for that information. I don't have any of that stuff. But I think, look, it's tough. 2 losses in a row. Feels like the sky is falling again. We're just battered Sacramento Kings fans, as you put it earlier tonight in a tweet, right? So try to go to bed and get some rest and let that anger and emotion slide off of you a little bit. Keep in mind the Kings are in 3rd place in the Western Conference.
Yep.
The numbers I just gave you, they have a better than 500 record after a loss. They have a better than 500 record on the road. They're still a good team. We are traumatized as fans. They're not going to win every game, but they're a good team. They should come back and play well on Monday.
They are a good basketball team. Also, shout out to Alfie Man here. Bench Matthew, get in Twitter Spaces, bro. I want to hear from you after the game or after the post game. We're going to stick around in Twitter Spaces and chat with Elizabeth, chat with Tanvir, and anybody else that wants to join in. So make sure you guys do that. But, guys, yeah, we are in some trauma, 16 years of trauma, as DJ says here. But, guys, picture this, right? Imagine you're in Vegas. Imagine you're at the blackjack table, and you just lost – a $10,000 hand of blackjack, which is a lot of money, right? You're feeling horrible.
That is a lot of money.
I just lost 10 grand. Trust me, I've been there before. I just lost 10 grand in blackjack. I'm feeling horrible. But just before that hand, Calvin, you're up 60 grand playing Baccarat. So minus 10, you're still up 50 G's. You feel horrible about the 10 G's you just lost, but you're up 50 G's for the trip, which you should feel great. And that's how Sacramento Kings fans should feel right now. Because we're up 50 G's, dude. We're in 3rd in the Western Conference. As much as this loss hurts, as much as Wednesday night loss hurts, I miss the beam too. I want to see the beam. We have some exciting stuff here. So next win, I can't wait to celebrate with you guys here on the channel because we have a lot of exciting things coming. But guys, we're up 50 G's right now. It's okay. Relax. Cash out, like Alfie Man says. Sleep well. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you all so much. Please don't forget to smash up that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Calvin, sweet beams?
Sleep beams.
Sleep beams. All right, guys. Have a good night. Go Kings.